Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. We have the one and only Tamara Johnson-Shealey from Georgia, who is running for the state senate, and we have some stories to talk about, some very important stories. Beforehand, I want to remind anybody that's watching right now that you must go ahead right now and share this show. Share Politics Done Right. Share the show that you're watching right now to ensure that we defeat that algorithm from whom Facebook, you know how it goes. They're trying to get rid of progressive politics, but we won't allow them to do so. We will make sure that we continue to get the throughput and we go to change the world. We are going to change the country. We are going to continue to do what we are doing. Is that right, Tamara?
Absolutely.
Now, folks, I need your help. We had some changes in our software, and we want to make sure all of you that are listening on Facebook Live and on Blog Talk Radio to let us know that the sound quality is what we need to have and so forth. But let me go ahead and start with the show because we have quite a bit to talk about. The name of the show today is Progressive State Senate candidate Tamara Johnson-Shealey, a Democrat from Georgia, is going to talk a little bit about her campaign, but also about what I like to call democratic dysfunction. And I'll explain to you what I mean by democratic dysfunction in a little bit. But what's happening in the news today? We know we have good old Zuckerberg on CNN right now. He's going through his stuff. He's telling people why it is that their information is on for sale. But what he doesn't tell you is that while he's selling your information, he's also ensuring that you don't get all the information that you need. That is the reason why we ask you to share as we do here. So share, share, share. And don't forget, this is also a progressive show that needs your support. And your support comes at patreon.com/politics done right. That is patreon.com/politics done right. So anyhow, folks, the subtitle of the show today is Tamara Johnson-Shealey, Democrat of Georgia, will not allow the Democratic Party to slow her down. Progressive Democrat state Senate candidate Tamara Johnson-Shealey is on her third run for Georgia Senate District 40. Every time she's run, she has cut into the Republicans' margin of victory. Johnson-Shealey has been to every single corner of the district, putting in face time, people time, touch time, I call that flesh time, and in the process, developed a new motto. And what is that motto again, Tamara?
7% more.
7% more. In other words, that's all that she needs to win her district. And in a year where we are expecting a blue wave, and you know, that is the reason why I've been bringing on progressive candidates, because we need to ensure that the candidates who are going out there to run are, in fact, progressive candidates who can win their districts. And I think Tamara has already proven that she can win her districts given her growth. Anyhow, in a year that is slated to be a blue wave with a known candidate in the district who have developed a rapport with the district, it is ironic that another candidate is seen as the candidate of the establishment. It speaks to a dysfunction in the party that must be eradicated. You know, I want to tell people a little bit more about you, Tamara, but beforehand, I just kind of want to tell folks, why don't you explain to folks, first of all, how did we meet?
Oh, Egberto, you and I met at at Netroots Nation. It was my first time participating with Netroots, and you were one of the first persons that I met, and I'm so glad that we did.
Now, it's interesting because one of the things I saw, I go around Netroots with my camera, scouring for people and talking and interviewing people all over. And I think you showed up and you kind of just sat down in the lobby and you went to yourself. And I kind of said, like, hi, how you doing? And we introduced ourselves. And you started talking about some of the things that you actually do. And then I said, wait a minute, stop. I flipped out that camera and say, we need to make a video of this and make this actually an interview. Do you remember that?
You did, and I was like, huh? Yes, we did. We made a video right there at Netroots, right at the spur of the moment.
and you know what? That video went out there. You were a star on the Daily Coast front page for that day. And I tell you a little story about Daily Coast that I hadn't a clue about at that time. I think it was recent that I'd started writing for the front page there, and I didn't know that there was a policy on who gets on the front page. It had to be somebody approved as an approved candidate to get there. And interestingly, I wrote a blog about you and about you being a new person at Netroots, and not only a new person at Netroots, but here was this candidate, this potential candidate coming to run for Senate District 40, all green. I think it was your second run or first run?
First run.
It was the first run. And it was like, oh, wow, look at the things that Netroots, what we're doing here. We're learning, we're doing a whole lot of things. And they actually, the senior editor had no problem with it. They put that stuff up there right away. And not till later did she tell me, Egberto, do you know that to get anybody on the front page that's a candidate, it has to be approved and it has to go through all these mechanisms. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know. But anyhow, Tamara, let me tell folks, we have this stuff called the blog of the week that we do before we actually do all the interviews and that sort of stuff. And I decided to make the blog of the week you. Why? Because it is you who are running. It is you who I think have nurtured that district. And not only that, but it's you who at this point in time, I don't think received the appropriate, the appropriate, what is the word? I don't know what word to use. Whatever that word is from the Democratic Party. So without further, what's the word? Let me hear it.
If nothing else, just recognize that I'm a candidate and I'm a Democrat.
You're a candidate, and what else?
I said just recognition alone would have helped me tremendously within the party, but they've they've ignored me along the way.
Even though you appeared on the ballot twice before, and you were over, and the last time you were at 40. Well, I'm going to tell the people about this discussion that we had before I brought you in here, because this modest woman, too darn modest to be a politician sometimes, I wonder. I said, wait a minute, I remember, what was your first run? She said 37%. I said, what was your second run? 43%. I said, well, what was the number, Tamara? 43.8%. I said, then it's 44% that you actually got. You went from 37% to 44%. Isn't that right? Well, I didn't want to say that because I didn't cross the third. I'm like, if you're gonna round up, don't round down, especially since you're at 43.8. You won 44% of the vote. Anyhow, I had to give you a hard time. Yes. Anyhow, going forward, folks, you know what time it is.
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Now, let me get rid of the what time it is little thing here and start to tell you a little bit more about Tamara, because I think her resume is important, more so than one would think, because especially given who the party, for all practical purposes, they can't endorse. As you know, if you're a Democrat and you're running the party, they cannot endorse, but they sure can. They sure can give an indication as far as who they want. So here we go, folks. The Georgia Democratic Party do not know who they're messing with Tamara Johnson-Shealey. She doesn't back down to anyone. She is in it to win it for her district. Johnson-Shealey has been to every corner of her district, and she has her motto, just 7 more points. Every time she has run, she has increased her margin by 7 points more. In a time where we're expecting a blue wave, I can tell you that 7 points is not insurmountable. In a year that is slated to be a blue wave with a known candidate in the district who have developed a rapport with the district, it is ironic that another candidate is seen as a candidate of the establishment. It speaks to a dysfunction. And folks, we have to talk about this dysfunction not only here in Texas, not only there in Georgia, but throughout the entire nation. So one of the reasons I asked Tamara to come on is because of a flyer I saw her send out. And in being impressed with how she turned a discussion on Facebook into a flyer and an informational source. Impressive. I'll put that on the screen in a little bit. I have that in the blog of the week. But who is Tamara Johnson? Tamara is a true progressive fighting for economic justice, equal opportunity, and empowerment for all in the 40th district. After watching the leadership in her community drift farther and farther away from the interests of the people, she stepped up and took on status quo, bringing a new vision and progressive priorities to the race. Tamara is a Georgia native born and raised in Chatham County with deep family roots in Effingham County. She has lived in DeKalb and Gwinnett counties for more than 22 years. Tamara understands what the voters of the 40th district need because she lives the same day-to-day reality, a working mother, a wife. Tamara built her own business as a nail salon owner for 10 years and worked as a licensed nail technician for nearly 20 years. As a business owner, Tamara became concerned about the negative effects of the deregulation on health and safety standards in her industry. In 2011, she did something about it. Tamara founded the Concerned Beauty Professionals and Politics Beauty, two organizations that advocate for strong health and safety requirements for licensed beauty professionals and the clients they serve. As president of the Concerned Beauty Professionals, Tamara secured a health and safety alliance with U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, known as OSHA, and Georgia Institute of Technology, the Georgia Tech. A senior advocate for politics beauty, she successfully campaigned for the introduction of Georgia Senate Bill 64 to strengthen the continuing education standards for licensed beauty professionals. And in 2012, on her first visit to Capitol Hill with the Professional Beauty Association, Congressman Hank Johnson agreed to co-sponsor H.R. 1957 legislation to improve tax policies for the industry. As you can see, folks, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill woman here that decided, oh, I want to put my face out there and jump into politics. This woman has paid her dues. She has paid her dues in the business. Tamara was a Democratic candidate for the Georgia Senate 40th District in 2014 and 2016, coming just 7% away from victory in an unfavorable drawn district. In other words, a gerrymandered district, and she missed it by 7 points. What do you think is going to happen, like what's been happening throughout the country over the last several months? She's going to win it, but she has to get through her primary, a primary that the Democrats in Georgia, the Georgia Democratic Party, and you don't have to be the one hitting your party. I can do that. The Georgia Democratic Party, who refuses to see that you invest in that which has invested in their county, in their districts, and have already done that. And well, let me finish reading about her before I get a little bit excited on this one. Tamara is the only candidate who has come within striking distance of taking back the 40th district for the people and believes this is the year to make it happen. A connector and a bridge builder, Tamara will bring the same sense of determination to the Georgia State Senate on behalf of the people she is privileged to serve. Tamara holds a bachelor's degree in computers information systems from DeVry University and this is difficult for me, onyxologist diploma from the International School of Skin and Nails. She is married to Jim Shealey and the mother of two sons, Kenneth and Devon. Welcome again, Mademoiselle Tamara Johnson-Shealey.
Thank you, Egberto. I am delighted to be here. Thank you for having me on your broadcast.
Now tell me, first of all, how is your campaign going?
You know what? I'm excited. It's actually coming along relatively well. I think a lot of people are quote unquote woke right now. So the excitement around politics is there. Everybody's paying attention. We're watching, politics nationally. So they're watching the local races as well. So I'm excited about where we are with our campaign.
Now, how is the fundraising going?
Well, that has always been not my strength because I have, it's all about the voters. So the first thing I do when I meet people is I, get to know them. I want them to get to know me. So, the fundraising part has not been my strength. And it's all about the votes and not about the money. So I keep focused there and I keep running no matter what I raise.
What I like with what you're doing, and I think a lot of candidates, a lot of independent, progressive candidates could learn quite a bit from what you're doing, and that is you're a very effective user of social media to reach a lot of people that a lot of folks pay a hell of a lot of money to reach, and you do it complete or almost entirely organically. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. My approach is to be authentic. I think when you engage with people and you really get to know them, and social media it's a platform, and people use it, kind of lightheartedly, but there's a connection that you can really make with people on social media, and I'm very intentional about those connections. So it's not just my Facebook friend. I really try to get to know the people that I'm friends with on social media. So it's totally been my avenue.
Well, I want to show as I mentioned before earlier, Tamara has run twice for that district, and now that she's running the third time, first of all, how did it come about that you got somebody who just came out of the blue to run against you in the primaries?
Yes, this person was actually, quote unquote, I received a phone call. I'm just going to be very candid in this conversation. I actually received a phone call from someone inside of the party, and shared with me that she was actually asked to run in the 6th congressional district race. That's the one where John Ossoff ran.
Right.
Then once John Ossoff got into the race, she was asked to get out. So she made a deal. And the deal was whatever race she ran, that she would have Democratic support. And that's exactly what has happened. So that phone call that I got from the inside.
So somebody inside the Democratic Party decided that they had to find the most expedient candidate that they could to decide to primary with this woman because they didn't want her running against Ossoff, that off-year race that we had.
Well, the Ossoff race was a special election, so it was in the middle of, it was before this race. Mm-hmm. So when she got out of that race and that Ossoff race happened, she decided to run in this race, and that's where the support was garnered.
Now, let me ask you something about Georgia politics. Can you run in a district that you don't live in, or how can she decide, well, I want to be in this district versus another district?
Yes, she lives in the district. John Ossoff did not live in the district.
Oh, okay. But you don't have to live in the district that you're trying to represent.
Congressional.
The congressional district.
The congressional race. That was the congressional district race where John Ossoff ran. This is the state Senate 40th district.
Got it.
Overlaps with the 6th congressional district.
And that is why so she could run in several of the Senate districts that overlapped, and they decided to put her in your district.
When she decided to run, I'm not going to say that they put her in my race. I'm going to say that she decided to run in my race. She knew that she had the support for whatever race she ran because of her relations with the Ossoff race. Now,
the question is, what has she done within the district that would make her, in their eyes, a better candidate to support than you were, someone who've nurtured that district for this amount of time?
She actually served in the House of Representatives, and I give her credit. I mean, she's done her time in the legislature, and I want to say it was 2003 to maybe 2009. Has been many, many years. Mm-hmm. She has not been around politically. I've never seen her. Nobody else had ever even heard of her or even remembered that she even served. So for her to get into this race was just that. She just got into the race.
Now, I know you guys probably don't spend the money to do any kind of polling or anything like that. Did the party do any polling for this race at all?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay, and as far as the running is concerned, I know, I follow the politics of, I follow my special progressive people around the country. I mean, I follow you. I follow our other Bernie supporter that was out there in Philadelphia with us, here in San Antonio, and a few others around the country, just to see how to kind of measure where they're at. He won to get into a runoff in his race. As far as you are concerned in your race, do you have a feeling as far as whether she's making a presence throughout? And I'm not talking about maybe Chamber of Commerce, etc., because I imagine she has She's persona grata in Chamber of Commerce and all these other functioning institutions. Do you see that she's on the ground speaking to the people as you are, as we see all the time on social media?
I see that she's raising a hell of a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. How much has she rose so far?
Back the last disclosure that I was aware of, which was a couple months ago, where I had raised about $15,000, she has raised $115,000.
Where is her money coming from?
That I don't have. I did not look to find the specifics, but I was taunted by the incumbent about her disclosures and where the money is coming from. And from what he has put on social media, the incumbent in this district, is that the establishment is funding her.
Really? Meaning the Democratic Party is actually using Democratic resources from the DCCC, DCCC to fund her?
No. When I say the establishment, probably more so like people that are in positions either within the party or that are elected officials, or if you look at it, these people are connected to the Democratic Party.
Okay. Now, as far as that is concerned, has any Democratic establishment people, if you will, including some of the candidates, and not candidates, but some of the Congress people or senators approached you for either support or to try to nudge you out of there?
Absolutely not. I believe that they are totally afraid to get to say anything or support me or get behind me, because I am not your typical Democrat. I'm very progressive in my stance. I'm very vocal. I don't just sit back and let things happen and I don't address it. So they've kind of shied away from me because I'm not one of these Democrats that you can control.
Now, I want to show our audience something. And for those of you who are listening on Blog Talk Radio, you won't be able to see this, of course, because you're listening. But for those of you that are on Facebook Live, I want you to see this, because this is the kind of thing that Tamara does. And I found this quite impressive. And Tamara, I'm sorry that both your face and my face are covered right now. But here's the deal. There was a discussion on Facebook that included her opponent. And there was a candidate or a citizen that challenged the person. And it's amazing that the candidate just simply comes out and says, I am the establishment candidate, as if because they're the establishment candidate, they're entitled to win. Tamara got a wind of that conversation. I'm going to ask you about that in a little bit. But within hours, she had it ready to turn into an ask. She had it ready to turn into a flyer. She had it ready to be turned into an informational piece. For those of you who are candidates right now, I don't care what county, what state you're in, this is something that you should be learning from, because what Tamara did, one of the reasons Tamara is on right now is in going through all my mail yesterday, I came across this mailer from, I'm on her mailing list, and I came across this mailer, and when I saw this mail, I'm like, wow, ingenious. In no time, she turned this into a piece, and it didn't require a whole lot of consultants or anything like that. She just got the job done. Tell us a little bit about how that came to pass.
Well, in that particular post that I put out, that was the incumbent, and he was taunting me that I should focus on my primary because the establishment has already chosen has already chosen their candidate, and that was when I put it out that he was taunting us, and I was I'm addressing the party, like Democratic Party, Georgia Democratic Party. Did we not learn anything from picking our candidates? Did we not learn anything from the Hillary and Bernie experience? We have to get beyond that as a party. And I've actually had a run-in with the DeKalb Democratic Party because there was one of the House district chairs who should have been organizing to support all the candidates. She, in so many words, had, I won't say allow, but she did allow the volunteers that were working for her to go and actually volunteer for my opponent. And never did she address the county party. So she never told the county party that as a captain of this precinct, as a captain of this district, that my volunteers were all going to work for one candidate in particular. She just let that happen. Just never said it to the county party. So I made a big deal of that as well. I actually did a Facebook broadcast about that because this is not how Democrats win. Democrats should not be eating their own. The state party, the county parties should all candidates equally. And that means we're putting out literature for everyone, sharing everyone's information on social media, sharing all the candidates on your website, supporting the Democrats as a whole, not picking your candidates and supporting who you want to support. And that's what is happening right here in Georgia.
Now, what I'd like to get at, though, is why do you think, however, that is happening specifically to you in this particular race? I mean, like I said in the preamble to the show and earlier on in the show, you were the one who nurtured that district, and you are the one who made that district viable to somebody, viable that it's likely a Democratic pickup in November. Because
it goes back to why Netroots even came to Georgia this past year in 2017. These races in Georgia, they're about, and
repeat that again, because you kind of bottomed out a second. So repeat that for me.
The races here in Georgia, the reason why Netroots came to Georgia in 2017 as an organization, because what's going on here in Georgia politically, these races are about race.
Tell me more.
Across the board, we have black candidates, we have white candidates. Georgia is still rooted. I'm born and raised right here in Georgia. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, so this is all I know. And I can just tell you that Georgia is still the old South. We still have stone mountain with Confederate monument, with Confederate carvings on the side of it. We still live in where I'm from, I remember when Obama ran, there were people on the side of the road with Confederate flags that had his face on it. There are certain parts of Georgia that you still better not drive in the dark by yourself as an African American or a Latino or a person of color. I remember a white guy who was a great friend of mine. He and I were on a trip for our industry, part of our organization. And he and I were in a very rural part of Georgia. And he made a joke, which was funny because he and I can have these kind of jokes and it's okay. But he made a joke. He said, "Oh, we out of here, black and gay. We better get out of here."
Did you say black and gay? You better get out of there.
Yeah, because I'm black and he's gay. So
okay.
A black and a gay. We better get out of here fast.
That is funny, but I mean, so that is one of the reasons that Netroots have been doing some of the routes in the South, because again, it's to bring awareness, and you can't be progressive if you're not progressive. You can't be progressive if you're not doing the progressive thing. And one of the topics that I'm covering on at Daily Coast coming this Sunday is sort of about that as a Democratic Party, many times folks look at the party as, say, this is a progressive party, and act as if we don't have a lot of the problems that exist in the country as a whole, and specifically in the Republican Party, which is sort of an embedded type of a racism in there. Again, we look at your race, and I didn't necessarily want to bring it up initially, or because the first thing a lot of folks are going to say is, there you go again, black candidate in a state. Pull in the race card. But the issue, again, I think that is very important for folks to understand is, for one who has nurtured a district, and not only nurtured a district, but within that district shown growth. In other words, not 1 or 2 percentage points growth, which kind of tends to say, well, that is within the margin of error, but each time increase the voting potential by 7%. It seems to me the party should be running to support you, and would be doing what they normally do, and ask other folks, if you don't have a vested reason to run in that race, why not let the person who is likely to win the race spend their money in the main part, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and I've actually had people in the district, I've had women, my district is predominantly white, I will say that.
It's predominantly, you kind of cut out a little bit. Maybe we keep a little on your tempo. We probably should have done a private mic, but that's okay. We're where we're at already. But you said you live in a mostly white district.
I do. I live in a predominantly white district, and I've actually had white women come up to me and say things like, I had one to literally follow me outside of an event. And she said to me, Tamara, she said, give me 30 seconds to why you're the better candidate. And I looked at her and I'm thinking to myself, if it only takes me 30 seconds to convince you, you're really already convinced. But I gave her what she wanted and I gave her my spill. And she said to me, her biggest concern, she said, is that I don't think that white women will vote for you. And I told her two things. I said, well, they voted for me twice already. They voted for me twice already. Even my opponent, if she's a Democrat, she's voted for me twice already herself. And I told her, I said, vote your conscience. Just vote your conscience. And she said she would.
That is look, let me tell you, I think that is so important. And not only that, I'm glad to see that you're a black woman running in a white district. And there's something that you're doing that I think is also important. And a lot of people don't understand, how to cross that I call it imaginary divide, but that social experiment type divide, because, race is but a social construct. But you've started going around the city or your county or district with a guy, and you guys have been discussing race openly, and this is, I guess, an older white guy that you've been going around with. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so I have he's a great, I love him, and I tell him all the time on air that how much I love him because he's such a great guy, and he and I talk about race. And you know what? It's good to have people that don't look like you, that don't have your same experiences, to have our candid conversations. He's an older Jewish man who, we have the conversation about race, and we have it very openly on social media, and we talk about race and racism and race relations because and I actually started a Facebook group, Egberto, called Acknowledge the Divide, because I think we get to a place where we can acknowledge that there is a divide, and I think different, and you think different, and we all think differently, and a lot of it is based on race. When we start to have those conversations, we realize we have more in common than we know.
That is important, and I like listening to the two of you talk. And every now and then you bring somebody in. There's this young man that you brought in. I think he was a rapper or something that you brought into the show as well. And I think that is so important because the last statement that you made there is the reason you're going to be elected, because you came out and you're frank with folks. And when people talk to you, for the racist section of your district, when they talk to you and they hear some of the things that you say and some of the things that you stand for, they suddenly realize that a lot of barriers get broken down. They give us a lot. Some progressives give us a hard time for spending the effort and the time to talk to white folks that seem immutable, but we do it anyway. I like the way you do it. We all do it. I consider those of us that are real progressives, the ones that are actually going to go out there and try to change people's minds and people's hearts. And I watch what you do with that young man, and I watch what you do alone. There are times that you get on the on Facebook by yourself, and you go ahead and you give your spill, and you give your spill on race. There was one particular time I saw that you were extremely upset because of something that happened. You want to talk about that, or?
That was probably what I just mentioned when I was upset about what happened with the DeKalb Democratic Party, where the person that was operating the precinct.
That's right.
Yes, that was where I was upset with that. Yeah.
That is when the party, instead of helping all the candidates, they decided to throw all of the help to your opponent.
And I won't say the party specifically, but it's the people in the party. This is where the Democratic Party gets it. It's the people in the party that's giving the party a bad name. I'm a Democrat in my heart. In my heart, I believe in the democratic values. But it's the people in the party that are doing things that don't reflect who we are supposed to be as Democrats. That's where my problem lies.
And what are you doing about that?
I'm vocal. Call it out when I see it. That's why I say a lot of people, a lot of the elected officials, they don't come too close to me because if you don't want the truth exposed, if you don't want the truth, you might want to stay away from me.
And when you have a social media penetration like you do, you have to be very careful. All right, let folks, remember this is a call-in show as well. If you want to ask Tamara any questions or you want to talk to Tamara, you can call 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Let me tell you, folks, we can take 50 calls at a time, and it's funny because you guys rarely ever call. And when you call, you notice you take over the show, but at least you write a whole lot on the screen. And what I'm going to do is first welcome all our people. Tamara, we have George Smith, Jessica Hopkins, Chase K. Escamilla. We have, Michael Davis, Jessica Hopkins. We have Mr. Ledoux. We have, and Mr. Ledoux is a staunch Tea Party conservative and a friend. Yes. So, Ledoux, we still love you. Let me see what some of these people want to say here, these great folks of mine. Labor is a prior to and independent of capital. Capital is only the fruit of labor and could never have existed if labor had not. It looks, my dear George Smith, like you wanted to continue our show from the last time when we talked about capitalism. But since we're talking to Tamara, we're going to start talking about Georgia business. Anyhow, how do I share this link? I want my friends to tune in. Just go ahead and click on share. It's right under the picture, my friend. And I should have said that long before. But not only should you share the link, you should tell your friends, you know what? There is this woman in Georgia who is fighting. She's not fighting against the party. She's fighting the winds, the winds of the party to win the district. And you know what? If you guys can give a help out there in Georgia, so be it. Go ahead and do it. Now we have some Georgia love today from Chase Escamilla. You got some Georgia love and good luck today. We also have FB censorship will get much worse in the future. George, that is actually true, but Tamara has been in Facebook jail long enough to know that it will not be. Right, Tamara?
Yes.
Tell folks why you end up in Facebook jail as a candidate.
I know I'm very active on social media, so sometimes I kind of get excited and I'm just doing too much. And Facebook said, slow up or we're going to put you in jail, and they put me in jail for 3 days.
So the last one was 3 days?
3 days.
Yeah, well, you know something? We can't have your account down for 3 days, so you're going to have to really, really, really be careful. Let's see. Word, Egberto. That is Jessica Hopkins. Drive around Georgia and have your live on, and let's see. Drive around Georgia and have your live on, and we'll get you all the smaller towns and push the algos. I'm not sure what you're saying, Senor Escamilla, but you can always tell me and call in. And folks, remember, this is a call-in show, 646-716-5812. Jessica, here I am looking forward to this interview. Great, Jessica. And there you had her. George Smith, the Republican and Democratic parties, or to be more exact, the Republican Democratic Party represent the capitalist class in a class struggle. They are the political wings of the capitalist system, and such differences arise between and they relate to the spoils and not the principles. Michael Rudwin says, I've been spending the last 20 minutes looking for interesting articles about your 2018 run. Found none. That's not good at all. Amazed that that's even possible. Are you experiencing some sort of media blackout or something? Well, what you notice, this is a state Senate race, and there are articles about her because, again, if you go ahead and you look at, there was an article about you recently in one of your newspapers that I pulled up. I don't remember what it was about. Maybe I'd go ahead and put Tamara Johnson-Shealey, and plus there are several articles on her on Daily Coast and some other places. Do remember, though, folks, what you said is very important, that when it comes to candidates not sanctioned by the party, much is done to give a bigger visibility to the opponent. Though I doubt if you'll find anything on the opponent, because I did look and there was not much shown on her opponent. But in social media, you'll see a whole lot of Tamara for Georgia. You want to add to that, Tamara?
Yes. I'm determined. I'm committed to this race. I'm committed to serving in this district. my heart is here. My heart is here. This is not something that I just woke up and said, oh, I'm just going to run. No, I am committed to serving the least, the less, the last, and the left out. It was actually a quote that a reverend said just recently, and I told him I would definitely be using that.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's see. You said you can only hear every fifth word. Yeah, every now and then her mic goes out. The next time we have her on, we need to use one of those internal mics. That is not Tamara's fault. That is mine. I should have requested that in the beginning. But when she talks at a steady pace, it actually doesn't. That is called squelch control for those who don't know. A lot of these mics try to take out the background noise, and what happens is sometimes they make a mistake and take your voice out when they consider your voice noise if you kind of get these different levels in your voice.
You just stay at one tone.
Yeah. In other words, speak like this, and I will continue to find out what you're actually saying, and then we'll be able to speak. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to go that monotonic. All right, and then we have, I think it has been well established that the opponent was supported by the Dem establishment with racial overtones. Please don't make this about being targeted, ignored by the Democratic Party. I really went to hear about Tamara's progressive views. Okay, Tamara,
Yes.
that what Jessica said is very true. She acknowledges that there are issues why the Democrats don't want, may not want you to run. But what she wants to hear now is, what do you stand for?
Oh gosh, yeah. So healthcare, I'm a huge proponent for. Georgia should have expanded Medicaid here. We were one of the states that did not. I believe that we should have healthcare for all. I think everybody should be able to see a doctor and make sure that we have healthcare for every Georgia citizen. Education, I believe that we should fully fund, which quote unquote we have fully funded education with this last legislative session, but it remains to be seen how those dollars will actually be spent. But I do believe in a strong public school system because every child deserves an opportunity for a great education. Transportation, Georgia is, if you've ever driven through Atlanta or any of our suburbs, you will know that we're years behind with our transportation initiatives. We have people sitting on the highway for hours every single day. So we need to do better with our transportation initiatives here, infrastructure as well. I'm very progressive and I'd like to see us definitely raise the minimum wage. I do believe in the fight for 15. I'd like to see us do better here in the state of Georgia and raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Marijuana. I am definitely for the decriminalization of marijuana with before legalization. And I know that we have some initiatives now.
What's the difference, Tamara?
Say again?
What's the difference between decriminalization and legalization?
Well, I want to decriminalize it. We have a lot of people that are in the system based on marijuana convictions. And I want to see us get those people out of the system, give them an opportunity to participate in this new economy. Georgia's going to create, we have a lot of land here. And if we ever start growing that kind of crop, there's going to be jobs and there's going to be opportunities. And I want to make sure that people who have been victims of this system, they're on the forefront of those benefits.
I am actually glad that you said that, because while at Netroots, what was it, Netroots 17, we actually present, as you know, KPFT and Politics Done Right was also, we had our table there on Radio Row. And what we did is we interviewed quite a few people that were getting ready to start growing marijuana in places like Georgia and, of course, in California and elsewhere. And what they were doing is establishing the business plan for how these things are going to work. And there's one particular company that was impressive that said, it's amazing that there's a time when the marijuana business was exclusive to one group of people, and what we want to do is make sure and open it up for everybody to be a part of the business. For those of you who think marijuana is a criminal endeavor, that's your choice, and to believe that. I personally think marijuana is better than alcohol, but that's just me, and that's not our candidate here or whatever. That's just me. But anyhow, so there are reasons. Jessica made sure that to ask for your views on different issues, and she was very pleased with what you had to say. She said exciting about getting more progressive women of color in politics, and she also said right here with healthcare support and education support, your district will be well represented. I think what Jessica is telling you is you better continue working your butt off to get out there and win the district, which, Tamara, I feel, knowing you for 4 or 5 years or however long it is that I've known you now, I really think that the district is ready to be taken over again by progressives. The fact that you got 40, I'm going to say the right number. The fact that you got 44 percentage points of the vote, not no 43%, the 44%. The woman got 43.8%, and if you probably counted the what you call those ballots that aren't going through the machine,
ballots or something.
If you count those ballots, which are usually predominantly Democratic, you know it's her vote. So, my friend, Senator Johnson-Shealey, it is 44%. It is 44%. That's what we're.
I'm excited about where we are politically in this country. I hate that things have had to come to a place where, we're all woke. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, like we're now aware of what's happening around us. But you know what? This is going to be a good time for a lot of people to make a lot of positive changes right here in the state of Georgia and across this nation. So I'm excited.
I think you have reason to be excited because, again, with this wave that we expect to come, and if we continue to bring the right candidates out there, they can't help but win. So we do expect that you're going to be out here doing your job. Is there any other options, other tenets that you support as a progressive?
The environment. I'd like to see us do a lot of clean energy initiatives, like here in Georgia, solar. And, I think we have a lot of work to do with making sure we do some great things to help the environment. The opioid crisis here in Georgia is tremendous. Drug use. I'm a victim of that. My father, all my life, has been a drug user, and to this day, he still has a habit. And I realized in my 20s that my father was sick, and I did not grasp that for all of my life as a kid because I didn't understand. But I realized that I know now that it's a sickness, and drugs really do something to your mind. It alters you in some sort of way where you really are not stable, and the drugs do something to stabilize you. And I learned that, and I really want to be an advocate for those families and people who are those drug users themselves, because they need a lot of support. And I'd like to see us put a lot of money behind helping with the opioid crisis here in Georgia.
Now, in your district, is that a severe problem as well?
It's a problem across Georgia, and yes, it is a problem in my district. It's a problem that a lot of people. My district is more affluent, so a lot of things get kind of swept under the rug, or people don't talk about them as much. But it is definitely a problem in my district.
That is amazing. So, so here we go. You're attempting to win. You're likely to win in an affluent white district. I think before long we're going to be seeing you. The young man who couldn't find the particular articles he was looking for, and I'll find some for you and post them because there are quite a few of them out there. It is going to be interesting because you're likely to then make it onto the national scene as soon as you win a district like that district. Based on who you are, I think it's going to be a good thing. Jessica says, oops, I just ran off my screen. Jessica says on Facebook Live, she said, come on screen, come on out. We're looking for, she says, Tamara, that's an important insight in regards to your father and addiction. We need to get away from the stigmatizing and the punishing. And I think once you are able to tell that story and not only tell the story, but let folks know that the story is personal. You're not just talking about it off the top of your head, but you've lived through it yourself, that they know that when you get into the legislature, that you'll be there for them and you'll be able to assist them and you'll be able to have the empathy that's necessary to come out with the types of laws that are necessary to support those folks who are going through the opioid epidemic. So I am confident that as you continue to campaign the way I've seen you campaign, and like I said, I'm here in Texas, And if I can watch your campaign in Texas with just the things going over social media and emails and otherwise, I can imagine how effective it is in Georgia. And I think based on the outcomes that we've had thus far and the improvement that you've had in your numbers, I think there are only good things that we can speak that's going to be coming out of your side. So, Tamara, we're coming close to the area where I'm going to let you go off and do what get a little bit more political. So why don't you take a few minutes or whatever you need and talk directly to your people, and given that you have a national audience here, if there's any kind of help that you hope folks can provide to you, be my guest.
Awesome. I just want to say thank you, Egberto, for giving me an opportunity to be on your broadcast. My heart is to serve. I come from the beauty and barber industry. I actually do manicures and pedicures. I owned this salon for 10 years, but I did services myself. So I know what it's like to actually serve people, and I know how to listen. I listen before I speak. I'm much quieter than the average politician because I want to hear from the people that are talking to me. I want to hear and I want to understand. So I'm much better listening. Senate District 40, I'm excited. I want to serve. I want to be a part of some very positive change right here in Georgia. My heart is in this. My life is in this. My family, we've all invested a lot of time and a lot of energy, and I want to be a part of some positive change right here. I think we have so much opportunity. Georgia is my heart. I am a true Southerner, Georgia peach, born and raised right here in Georgia. So I understand rural Georgia. I understand this urban area and the suburbs where I live in. So my heart is right to serve all of us right here in Georgia. My website is www.tamara, Georgia.com. You can find me on social media at Tamara or Georgia, and you can also find Tamara Shealey on social media as well.
Wow, you have that down in almost 1 minute and a little bit more. That is great. But anyway, folks, Tamara, like I said before, she is the progressive candidate in District 40, Georgia State Senate District 40, the progressive candidate in that district. Go ahead and check out our website. You can find out a whole lot more about her. If you so will, go ahead and support her. What we need to show in the grassroots movement is that we are willing to support. We are willing to put our support where we talk. In other words, we do a lot of talking. We do a lot of saying that we want to see progressives win. We do a whole lot of that, but we also have to ensure that we support those folks who put themselves on the line. And I can tell you this young lady, Tamara Johnson-Shealey, she has placed herself on the line. She has done everything that one can ask of a candidate. She has not just coasted. She has been everywhere. We've seen her at Netroots. We've seen her at the different events throughout her district, actually throughout the state. Before you go, Tamara, let me see if I have anything from other folks that want to tell you a few things. Let's see. I am going to send some live from California. Best to you, Tamara. I'll let my friends know about you. I hope one day to visit your Georgia. Jessica, I'd love to live. There you go, Jessica. And spread the word, and let's go ahead and help progressive candidates. Tamara Johnson-Shealey, thank you so kindly for having been with us.
Thank you, Egberto.
You have a wonderful day, and we're going to go into our other mode right now. And folks, let me remind you guys right now, first of all, that this is a progressive show that needs your support. Please remember, patreon.com/politics done right. Again, that is patreon.com/politics done right. Be a subscriber. What we do here at Politics Done Right is we are going to continue to make sure that we bring progressive candidates that otherwise would not get notice, otherwise would not get airtime, otherwise would not get mentioned. That is what we do. So again, folks, we are out there in the field as well. We're out there everywhere to make sure the progressive message gets out. You notice on the news that you see today, you hear the same subject over and over again. Over this week, we've talked capitalism. We've talked jobs. We brought you Tamara Johnson-Shealey. We brought you all these different topics that simply won't be covered on air. So I ask you humbly, I ask you to be generous. I ask you to be, again, it's as little as you can to go to patreon.com, patreon.com/politics done right, and support progressive media. We are the ones that are going to, again, support our candidates. We're the ones that are going to be out there giving you that news that nobody else wants to or nobody else can. So, folks, please go ahead and do that. I don't have any, the blog of the week, again, was Tamara. So we don't have a specific topic today. So what I'd like to do is close out the show by saying one important thing. Remember, your vote counts. Remember, your value counts. You are valuable, and don't let anybody else take that away from you. You can make a difference. The plutocracy's job is to tell you that you do not have the ability to change things the way they are. The Tamara Johnson-Shealeys of the world, they are putting themselves on the line to say, heck no. We are going to make that change. We will make that change. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES, that is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.